Greetings, my dear viewer. You're on the channel The Price of Cheating. The channel is for those who appreciate traditional family values and condemn adultery. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. The words hit me like an unexpected punch. Honey, we need to talk. How many men have been ambushed by that phrase? How many relationships have unraveled because of it? Of course, Sophia, what's on your mind? I answered nonchalantly, not even glancing up as my wife of 14 years walked into the room. But then I saw him, a young man standing by her side. My gaze shifted sharply. "And who's this?" I asked, my tone laced with irritation. Sophia hesitated, her expression uneasy. "Brian, this is Ben. He's part of what we need to discuss." I studied the two of them, noting the stark contrast. Sophia, my stunning wife at 36, and this guy who couldn't have been older than 23. There was something off about his demeanor, a cocky air that instantly rubbed me the wrong way. While Sophia appeared earnest, Ben looked almost smug. Was that a grin on his face? A smirk? Whatever it was, it made my blood simmer. "All right, Sophia," I said, keeping my tone steady but sharp. "What exactly does this have to do with him?" She swallowed hard, clearly uncomfortable. "Brian, you've probably noticed. Things between us haven't been great lately. You know, in the bedroom." "Is that so?" I replied with mock surprise, finally meeting her gaze. "Funny, you never brought this up before." She sighed, her voice tinged with frustration. "You know what I mean. The passion. It's been missing." "Missing?" I raised an eyebrow. "Care to elaborate?" She fidgeted, avoiding my eyes. "I just feel like maybe I'm not getting everything I need from you." "Oh, really?" My voice grew colder. "And how exactly would you know that, Sophia, when you've been avoiding me for weeks?" Her cheeks reddened as her discomfort deepened. For the first time, she seemed genuinely unsettled. Before she could respond, Ben stepped forward, his presence as unwelcome as his timing. "Look, Brian, it's Mr. Anderson to you," I interrupted, my voice icy. His bravado faltered and he stepped back, visibly irritated but momentarily silenced. Sophia glanced at him nervously before turning back to me. "Brian, this is hard for me," she said softly. "I love you. I really do. I can't imagine my life without you." "But you've developed feelings for someone else," I stated flatly. "No," she said quickly, her voice rising. "Not exactly." She trailed off, looking at me with pleading eyes, hoping I'd somehow understand. I gestured for her to go on. "I'm still in love with you," she insisted, "but I've been feeling confined, like I need space to grow, to figure out who I really am." "And by figure out, you mean sleeping with Ben?" I asked bluntly. "Don't be crude," she snapped, as if I were the one crossing a line. "That's not fair." "Oh, forgive me," I said sarcastically. "What would you call it then?" "It's not just physical," she replied, as though that somehow made it acceptable. "It's about connection, growth, expanding who I am." "Ah, expanding," I said, my tone biting. "So, by expanding, you mean deepening your relationship with him while staying married to me?" "You're making this so difficult," she said with an exasperated sigh, as if I were being unreasonable. "What exactly are you asking for, Sophia?" I pressed, unwilling to let her dodge the question. She hesitated again, casting a quick glance at Ben. He gave her a subtle nudge of encouragement. Finally, she spoke. "Brian, we were thinking maybe we could stay married. Things between us wouldn't have to change, but I could also spend time with Ben, just a few nights a week." I stared at her, dumbfounded. "You actually think that's a good idea?" "Yes," she said, her voice growing firmer. "I'd always come back to you. I'd still be here for breakfast." "How considerate," I replied dryly. "With your support," she continued, her tone almost hopeful, "I could finally grow into the person I'm meant to be." "And this growth involves Ben's support as well?" I asked pointedly. Her smile faltered. Ben, on the other hand, was glaring at me, clearly holding back his anger. "Brian, please," Sophia said, stepping closer. "I know I've neglected you, but this is something I need." I raised a hand to stop her. "And you, Ben," I said, turning my attention to him. Are you all right with Sophia occasionally being intimate with me? His lips curled into a smirk. Whatever, man. Sleep with her if you want. She'll never enjoy it as much as she does with me. Sophia gasped, spinning toward him in shock. Ben, stop it! But he wasn't finished. You heard me, he sneered. She says you're fine, but I'm just better. I let his words hang in the air before speaking. Interesting, I said calmly. That's almost exactly what Linda said about you. The room fell silent. Sophia's eyes widened in disbelief, while Ben's face contorted with rage. Leave Linda out of this, he shouted, stepping toward me aggressively. Sorry, Ben, I said with mock politeness, but your wife is already involved. Ben lunged at me, his fist raised, but Sophia grabbed his arm, desperately holding him back. Don't do this, she cried. Let me go, he snarled, struggling against her grip. I'll make him pay. Ben, stop it, she pleaded, clinging to him. And there we were, frozen in a tableau of betrayal, anger, and desperation. For the first time, I felt a strange sense of clarity. Let them rage. Let them unravel. I had already decided how this chapter would close. Believe me, you don't stand a chance. Touch him, and you'll regret it. She wasn't wrong, not entirely. Sure, I had at least 15 years on him, and his gym membership clearly wasn't just for show. But I wasn't some fragile relic. I'd built a construction business from scratch, earning my stripes alongside some of the toughest men in the trade. I could hold my own. He faltered, stepping back as though weighing his options. A pity, really. Another time, perhaps. I wasn't finished yet. So, what's the deal with dragging Ben's wife into this mess? It was Sophia, my wife, who finally broke the silence. Her voice was tight with restrained emotion. Why involve her at all? She has nothing to do with this. Leave her out of it. I shrugged, keeping my tone casual. Not my doing. She contacted me a month ago, told me everything about you two. The shock on Sophia's face was almost theatrical. But Ben? He looked like someone had just kicked the foundation out from under him. Not a clue. He'd had no clue whatsoever. Honestly, it was starting to feel good watching him squirm. Score, 2-0. The room felt like a standoff, tension crackling as the three of us locked eyes. Unsurprisingly, it was Sophia who caved first. If you're wondering if I've been sleeping with her, I said, deliberately savoring every word, the answer is yes. At first, it was just payback for both of us. That started, about 4 weeks ago. But now, it's turned into something much more enjoyable. You're a liar, you piece of garbage, Ben snapped, his voice trembling with fury. There's no way my wife would cheat on me, especially not with someone like you, a washed-up has-been. I arched an eyebrow and threw a glance at Sophia, who looked visibly annoyed. We were the same age, after all. What did that say about her? Poor woman. Need proof, Ben? I asked, my tone mocking. Want me to describe her rose tattoo? I could even tell you exactly where it is. Or maybe I should reenact the way she gasps. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, when she reaches her peak. Ben's face flushed crimson, his rage palpable. If looks could kill, I'd have been long gone. But the truth was dawning on him. I'd not only seen his young, beautiful wife naked, but had thoroughly enjoyed it too. Liar, he hissed through gritted teeth. Linda would never do that. Not for you, she wouldn't, I fired back with a grin. But I showed her what she was missing. She's a quick learner. Maybe you should have focused on her instead of fooling around with my wife. Ben's fury boiled over. He shoved Sophia's hand off his arm and stormed toward the door. I'm going to deal with that cheating wife of mine, he roared. Not so fast, Ben, I called after him, pulling a key from my pocket. Unless you've got one of these, you're not getting into the house. I have my own damn key, he spat. Not like this one, I replied smugly. We changed the locks. His bravado deflated in an instant. Watching him crumble was immensely satisfying. Well, that's my cue, I announced cheerfully, standing up for the first time. You know where to find me if you need clarification. Wait, Brian. Sophia's voice cracked as tears welled in her eyes. You can't just walk out on me like this. Oh, but I can, I said with eerie calm. And everything I care about from this house is either at Linda's place or packed in my car. Consider it extra space for yourself, sweetheart. Sophia's eyes darted around the room, finally registering the absence of my belongings. Her tears spilled over as she rushed toward me, but I stopped her with a raised hand. Gently, I told her she could keep the house, the car, and that my lawyer would handle the rest. "But how will I survive, Brian?" she sobbed. "You've got your part-time job," I replied flatly, "and maybe Ben here can step up, though that might be tricky, seeing as Linda's father plans to fire him first thing tomorrow." I strode to the door, pausing to drink in the sight of them, broken, defeated, a stark contrast to the smug confidence they'd exuded only half an hour ago. "Goodbye, Ben," I said. "It's been enlightening." "Goodbye, Sophia. Thanks for the memories. It's been educational." Score, 3-0. Game over. Without a backward glance, I stepped into the night and headed for my car. Behind me, their shouting and accusations echoed, filling the air like a discordant symphony. All this would cost me about $100 in legal fees to untangle myself from Sophia. Small price to pay, considering it wasn't her first betrayal. I felt nothing for her anymore. Trading a 36-year-old woman, still attractive, sure, and a small payout for a 21-year-old who was wild in bed, a solid upgrade. And the fact that Linda adored me with a multimillionaire father, that was just a bonus. What a victory. What a joke. Thanks for reading. If you enjoyed this little tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Take care. This concludes the story. If you like it, then put your powerful like and subscribe to the channel.